of local languages in socio-economic development. He said language and culture are hardly separable and thus urged the usage of local languages in schools.
You cannot talk about development without languages. You talk about the Millennium Development Goals, and you cannot achieve these goals without languages. You may ask why, because you need to talk to the people that are affected. And for these people to understand, you have to speak to them the language that they understand.
Experts at the program felt that the prospects of certain indigenous Gambian languages of becoming extinct are as clear as crystal if something is not done to avert what experts described as the situation threatening the survival of such languages. For GRTS News, I am Charisane.
The Ministry of Youth and Sports, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, on Saturday organized Sports for Health competition featuring athletics, football, and tug of war at the Serakunda Mini West Stadium. The idea is to use sports to promote health-effective service delivery for all sectors of development in the country. The Sports for Health initiative, a brainchild of the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, is meant for a healthy workforce to get towards a wealthy nation. The program began with a march past led by the police band from Officer Junction to Serakunda West Mini Stadium. The Chief Executive Officer of the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry commended the organizers for what he described as timely, noting that if Gambians want a prosperous nation, they must cherish sports for effective service delivery. Speaking to GRTS, the Youth and Sports and Interior Ministers expressed satisfaction with the turnout and stressed the significance of sports in the socio-economic advancement of the country. The program featured musical chair, athletics, sports semi-finals and tug of war, and presentation of trophies and certificates. The Gambia is a country that has a diverse ethnic groups, different traditions and cultures beliefs. It is for this reason that the Balanta community of Gunjur recently organized a symbolic initiation ceremony which brought together several people from far and near. The main aim was to prepare the initiates for manhood and instill moral values that would help them cope in any situation that they find themselves in. It is believed that the entire process would serve as a chance or as a change agent, especially in improving their personality and respecting the elderly. Present in the ceremony is the Paramount Sefo Alhaji Demba Sanyang, accompanied by Alcalos and Sefolus as well as other officials. As the 10th anniversary of the Iraq War inches closer, mainstream international media have been looking at what some are calling the biggest hoax in recent memory. We'll be back with these and other stories right after the break. Welcome back. The election of Uhuru Kenyatta as the President of Kenya is seen as a slap in the face for the International Criminal Court, which has indicted him for alleged human rights abuses. Mr. Kenyatta has called for respect for the sovereignty of Kenya, vowing that his country will honor its international obligations. His rival, Raila Odinga, has rejected the polls, saying they were rigged in Mr. Kenyatta's favor. We have more in this report.
To savor his victory, or rather his achievement. It's the first time a man sought by the International Criminal Court for crimes against humanity is elected president. It's also a slap in the face to the international community by the new president, who is accused of participating in the post-electoral violence of 2008.
While as leaders, we are first and foremost the servants of the Kenyan people, we recognize and accept our international obligations. We also expect that the international community will respect the sovereignty and the democratic will of the people of Kenya.
However, his new role of president does not guarantee him immunity. The scheduled hearing at The Hague is due to begin on July 9th. That doesn't bother his supporters, though, from expressing their joy at his win.
I just wanted to celebrate for Kenyans and for Uhuru to win. And we hope that the peace, it will continue.
The aftermath of the deadly violence that took place following the 2008 elections is still in the minds of people. On Saturday, calls for peace came from London, Paris, and Washington. In Kisumu, the hometown of the defeated candidate Raila Odinga, his supporters voiced their disappointment.
Go to the stage right now. Wajaribu walete kitu inaitwa justice in Kenya. Yeah, there is no justice in Kenya. Sasa kidogo.
You've mentioned if the
For Odinga, it's quite simple. The results were rigged.
Do you think that those votes...
They retreated into a room, only to come back and order all our agents out of the room. Thereafter, they lost themselves in the room and were supposedly telling themselves and announcing results.
There was a parallel count.
Raila Odinga announced he would challenge the results, but only through legal means. It's a peaceful attitude that complements a sense of peace that has spread throughout the country since Sunday.
A Nigerian militant group, Ansarul Muslimina, has announced the execution of 7 foreign hostages taken 3 weeks ago in response to British and Nigerian attempts to rescue them. In Burma, Aung San Suu Kyi has been re-elected as head of the National League for Democracy. We have more of this and other stories in this roundup of news.
Nigerian Islamist group Ansaru claimed on Saturday to have killed 7 foreign hostages taken 3 weeks ago. The hostages are reportedly 2 Lebanese nationals, 2 Syrians, a Greek, an Italian, and a Briton. Ansaru said the hostages were killed because of attempts by the British and Nigerian governments to rescue the captives. On Sunday, Aung San Suu Kyi was re-elected head of the main opposition party, the National League for Democracy. She was elected unanimously by the Central Executive Committee at the NLD's First National Congress. The conference aimed to strengthen the party, which will become increasingly important in the run-up to the 2015 legislative elections. In Paris on Saturday, several thousand people formed a human chain demanding an end to the use of civilian and military nuclear energy. Protesters shouted, "Fukushima, never again." The demonstration comes 2 years after the Fukushima nuclear power plant disaster in Japan. Around 20 of France's 58 nuclear power plants are over 30 years old. The protesters said they wanted to send a message expressing their anger over the use of nuclear energy and to show their solidarity with the Japanese people.
The 10th anniversary of the Iraq War is coming, an invasion launched on the belief that Saddam Hussein harbored a stockpile of weapons of mass destruction. March 20th will be the 10th year anniversary of the US-led invasion of Iraq. Then President George W. Bush said the move was necessary to rid that nation of its weapons of mass destruction. But as Nick Robertson tells us, the WMDs never existed.
Has chemical and biological weapons. That Saddam has continued to produce them.
Before the invasion, the drumbeat. Saddam Hussein has WMD,
which could be activated within 45 minutes,
and isn't afraid to use it.
When Iraq finally admitted having these weapons in 1995, the quantities were vast.
It felt incessant, persuasive, but not a drop of nerve agent nor grain of biological weapon was found. Unlike other areas in Iraq, U.S. aircraft have so far not dropped leaflets over Baghdad. That's me on the eve of the war in Baghdad, in the pet market. I bought a bird to warn of chemical attack. Yes, I believed there could be WMD. Here I am again.
We're running to get into the cars.
4 months before the war, chasing UN weapons inspectors as they scoured Iraq for WMD. Iraqi officials bamboozled, obfuscated and blocked at every turn.
The president has told people to bury documents in their gardens at home. I mean, what do you make of all that?
Well, they said what they want.
Neither the inspectors nor us reporters could get a straight answer or unrestricted access. Many times I've asked myself how we could have been duped, misled it seems not just by a failure of Western intelligence, but by Saddam Hussein's big gamble. Rather than admit he had no WMD and lose face in the Arab world, he bet against invasion and lost everything. In the days after he fell, we went back to some of the sites the UN had inspected.